Good afternoon. You're listening to the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 AM KKNW. I'm your host, Reverend Walden. It's my joy to be on the air. And guess what? We got rain in Seattle. And I don't know if it's snowing in the mountains. Sometime it is. We haven't had a lot of rain this year, so I don't know what we're going to do a little later on. But it's raining now. I'm going to bring my guests on. I believe they're already waiting. They're retired firefighters, and they might have an attorney with them. And so we're going to let them come on and come on and give us an update about what's happening. And remember, everyone, this is a podcast later on today. Thank you. Tomorrow. All right. All righty.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Reverend Harris, for bringing us on and allowing us to just talk about what's going on with our property that we've been relentlessly pursuing for about 3 years now. The property that we own at 23rd and Pike has been in the neighborhood and in the community for over 40 years, and it was designed to be there for perpetuity, to be a museum or office space that we will have for future firefighters who would be coming onto the department. And for some reason, we had some 2 or 3 people on the now executive board who had decided to put the property up for sale when it was owned free and clear and purchased by the retired firefighters. So this has been an ongoing fight for us to try and restore back the property that we purchased a long time ago.
All right. And so is there any breaking news or will be breaking news coming up?
Yeah. Real well. Hello, Reverend Walden. I'm Roberto Jordan, also retired Black firefighters, and so
I remember your face.
we've had some pretty good news from the court earlier, and the Judge Wiggs still had some more work to do, and our lawyer Johanna Sim right there can also fill us in on the update.
Yeah, sure. So. Again, the Seattle Black Firefighter Association is a historic organization that owns property in the Central District on 23rd and MLK. So as far as I know, some people may be listening to this for the first time and may not have all the background, but I can't go through all of it again. What I will say is the judge ruled on January 31st of this year that they illegally sold the property. These two, some bad apples, a couple people sold the property. She held them in contempt of court, and she sanctioned them. What we were asking for is for this illegal sale to be rescinded and voided, and for the property, which is a double lot, be sent back and titled back into the name of the Seattle Black Firefighter Association. Clarence and Roberto Jordan are both past presidents of the association. Clarence was the president when the property was purchased, and Roberto was the president, I think, through 2019 or 18. And so it's shocking to see this. We've never had this type of disagreement or animosity in the organization. It's really shocking that a few folks would try to do this. As far as the update tomorrow, I know you said this might air tomorrow at Tuesday, February 25th at 1.
No. Oh, for us, we want to update so we can at least go ahead and get it out on the podcast, because our show is only on a Monday. So, and Eddie's show, Mr. Rye's show, is on Thursday. So the goal today is just to get it out so people can look forward and know what's going to be happening tomorrow.
Perfect. Yeah. So there will be a court hearing tomorrow at 1 o'clock in Kent at the King County Superior Court. We've had the community come to the last 2 court hearings, both in January, and the judge says that she will decide then whether to rescind this sale, to void it. We want the community there at 1 o'clock again. Please be on time to hear her decision, because it does make a difference when you come. Yes. I think our argument generally is not just these bad apples, but also the buyer and the bank, the finance company, have completely disrespected this judge's authority, this court's authority, by knowing that there was a lawsuit before they sold the house and lying about that, saying they didn't know, and trying to profit through this house flip, through this illegal sale. The buyer, this would be the buyer, Camilla Borges, and the bank that financed it, Turuk. They are actually last week argued that the house should not be titled back in the Firefighter Association's name, Seattle Black Firefighter Association name. The buyer and the bank are arguing that they should be able to keep it and make a profit, which is incredibly disrespectful, not only to us, but also to the judicial system. And
Yeah.
everyone saw that they were held in contempt, that this sale was illegal. So why would the buyer want to keep it? Even if you said that you were innocent and didn't know about this whole thing before you bought it, now you know. So shouldn't you want to return it, And we offered to help them, get their money back and all this. She wants to make profit. She wants to keep it. She wants to not give it back to the rightful owners. So that
What about the bank? What is the name of the bank again?
It's Turuk Capital Partners. Turuk Capital Partners, and they're represented by Mark. His last name's Detzler, I think Detzler, and I don't know if this is more coming from the bank or their attorney, but it obviously is a poor legal strategy. You're kind of giving lawyers a bad name by taking this step of trying to make a cute legal argument saying they're innocent.
Is there a local bank in this state, or are they out of state bank?
No, they're out of Denver. I think their
Okay.
headquarters technically in Florida.
Texas somewhere.
Yeah, there's just funny. So as bad as the bank is, it's actually the lawyer at Foam Law that I think is advising them to duck the judge and make these funny legal arguments and not do the right thing. So,
Wow.
In this time of Trump, where people are disrespecting court orders, not following rulings, this is really a challenge to the judicial system to find a way to do right here, to respect truth and justice, and rescind this deal, which is illegal.
Wow. Well, I guess that the residents of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, maybe that's the right address, there has no respect for the rule of law because it's not part of anything that has gained them the footing that they have in America. They're all immigrants. I mean, you and I and the rest of us are not immigrants. We've been here before the Civil War. They all came after us, so they're immigrants, and so it's really a difficult time right now. But I just want to say that I'm surprised and shocked that the other I'm surprised and shocked that the other firefighters don't understand how they got there. And so I'll just leave it at that piece so we can get some more information. They don't understand that they didn't open that door. We who came before them, I mean, the great Thurgood Marshall and all the people who worked on this opened that door. So,
well, I will say this in defense of them. The few people, Doug Johnson and a few more, I'll call them cronies, that were trying to sell the house, did it in secret. And Clarence Williams' niece drove by there, saw the for sale sign in the lawn, and asked him, "You guys are selling a black firefighter house?" And he said, "No way." He called me and asked me if I saw it. So then I started talking to some of the current black firefighters that were working, and none of them knew that the house was for sale. Wow. It was just a shock to them that the house was for sale. And I talked to at least 20 people. And so these are 3 or 4 bad apples that want to do it on their own and then try to go back and say that there was a vote. There was no vote because they didn't know about it at all. And so some of them knew, a few of them knew, most of them didn't. So that's how that came about.
Yeah, let me say just a couple of things there. Like, this has been a long legal battle, but when the house was originally put up for sale 3 years ago, the judge ruled that was illegal. It violated the nonprofit statute. No one was given notice. No one was allowed to vote. And there's a whole judicial opinion on that. Despite that, and they appeal this decision, despite that, they still sell this house illegally. And when they're found in contempt on January 31st, like the plaintiff is an active employed firefighter. That's who I represent, Erwin Chappelle. He asked them the day after the contempt ruling, hey, tell me where the money's at. What's going on, guys? Like, there's a decision here. And what he got in response was Hilton Jones resigning from the board. He's the treasurer. He just resigns on February 1st, the day after the contempt hearing. And you got the president, Doug Johnson, who's behind a lot of this. He disappeared. He's no longer president. He didn't sign any of the paperwork. And then on top of that, we discovered a few days ago, just last week, that the lawyer took $210,000 in commission from this illegal sale. And he said, right.
He should be disbarred.
Right. Well, he emailed back and said, actually, I'm going to keep that money. I don't care. But the judge ruled,
Okay.
yeah, I'm just going to keep it. And then the rest of the money, the $429,000, yeah, Doug and all them, they might just spend it however they feel like they want to spend it. So
Wow.
probably the bank is looking at this and saying, well, how are we going to get our money? Because they're just spending it. It's probably gone by the time this judge rules. This culture of Trump or whatever you want to call it, of gangsterism. I don't know how to describe this. I can't, every time I get more and more shocked by this case. It never fails to shock me.
Wow.
The level of greed and disrespect for the rule of law.
But also not knowing the value.
Hmm.
I mean, they sold it like a flea market.
Right.
I mean, it's a flea market sale.
Right.
I mean, it's like a lot of the people who sold houses doing gentrification and that. I mean, and for a song and a dance, and they couldn't buy no property and fell away. I
Right.
mean, so that's really one of the persons say, how can you sell something so undervalued? That's 23rd Avenue. It's commercially, I mean, it's really.
Double up.
I mean, I've been here since 1975. I mean, if I had a dime for every time I've been was on 23rd, man, I'd be rich, because it's a main thoroughway for us. So I don't know. I'm just glad that we can just have people to talk about it, know about it, and also the complacency time for us as the Africans stolen, they brought it to America is over.
Right.
I mean, it's over. If you don't wake up now, it's just not going to be any place for you later on. So,
Well, you echoed what I was going to mention, is that it was totally undervalued. They got $680,000 for the sale of the property, which was free and clear. There was no debt owing on it. And it was not appraised, but valued at over $1 million. So that's interesting. But it's programs like yours, Reverend Harriett, and Converge magazine, and
oh yeah,
radio, and
everybody knows that's my son, right?
Yes.
we should.
Yeah.
And it's outlets like this has been letting the community know and keeping them abreast, and we really are appreciative of the interest that the media has taken in this.
What is the name of the judge again, please?
Joseph Wiggs Martin.
Okay. Well, good. This is wow. I'm just you know what? I'm shocked that that firefighters would do this to other firefighters. I mean,
Yes.
it should be, I mean, it's like, okay, no code of ethics here. It's like,
Right.
they don't have no green line. The other profession got a blue line, and that blue line, they ain't
Yep.
giving up nobody.
Right.
So
Right.
Greed's a funny thing. Greed's a very funny thing. I see it all the time in these.
We
Yeah.
mentioned Converge really, really quickly, but they have a nice detailed article
yes.
in Converge where you can actually go through and it details out everything very plain, so that if you're 5 years old, you can read that and get an understanding as to what the case is all about.
Oh, well, that's a good idea. So, well, again, you want people to show up tomorrow. At Kent, the Justice Center out there. They call it the Justice Center. Is that where you're going to be at?
Yes, ma'am.
You want to talk about the time and the address and what you want people to do, or to be present, because numbers count. Because most people, when we walk in the courtroom, numbers really count. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, it's at 1 p.m. tomorrow.
Mhm.
You got to get through security. I'd suggest you be there 12:30. Yeah, metal detectors and all that. It's on the third floor.
Mhm.
Josephine Wiggs. The address, and I'll try to say it slowly here, is 401 4th Avenue North,
Okay.
Kent, Washington.
All right. Well, that sounds, I'm glad you're here. And again, this will be a podcast so people can still tune in and get it before that time tomorrow. And I'm just so grateful that we still have people with high integrity because that's
Right.
what's going to get us to the next level, bro. I mean, it's
Right.
like,
Yes,
it's
ma'am.
it's either you got some or you don't, bro. You just can't go to Kmart and buy it, or you can't get it. You just, it's in you. It's who you are, you
You
know.
don't
I
want
mean,
to buy you don't want to buy anything from Kmart right now anyway.
oh, well, that's not hardly any left anyway. I think it's almost a
I
done
mean
darling.
Walmart.
Well, yeah, so hey, I guess it's got black vendors out there that people are saying. So I don't know. I'm just kind of do the best I can because I've lived this life before. So hey, I was born and raised in Florida in segregation, so I understand this what's going on.
Okay.
I want to just thank you all for coming on, and I'm glad Eddie gave you information that we could do this again, and we'll be checking up on you, okay? And I pray that you prevailed in the court, the get justice for the firefighters, the retired firefighters who absolutely carried the water and made this possible. I think it was even a case law. I think didn't Claude Harris didn't want to then the fire chief make someone in your
Absolutely.
organization made case law. I said,
Right.
I mean, if you made case law, it means you got out of the Ninth Circuit, maybe. I mean, in some place to get case law, but
Yeah, I
yeah,
went to the U.S. Supreme Court and we were
that's right.
successful there. Yes.
That's right. You had to get out the Ninth Circuit to get there.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
if you don't get out the Ninth Circuit, you ain't getting there. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on,
Thank you for
Mother.
having us.
Thanks for
And
your prayers.
oh yeah, well I can do that. And the prayers of the righteous availeth
It
much
was
to
much.
say. And they say, you know what? No weapon formed against us will prosper if we
That's right.
understand
Yeah.
what it means to know. So yeah. All right. Take care.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Listen.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
All right. Until you take a break, you're listening to the Mother's Justice Show on 11:50 a.m. KKNW. I'm your host, Rev Walden. We'll be right back. Thank you.
The Mother's Justice Show is brought to you by H.G. Walden and the Virtues Healing Circles. Join us for Wisdom and Wellness with Reverend Walden, a monthly virtual and in-person healing circle that focuses on community healing and growth. Learn more at virtueshealing.com. That's virtueshealing.com. Also, be sure to join our healing group on Facebook. Again, visit us at virtueshealing.com today.
Oh, good afternoon. You're listening to the Mother's Justice Show on 11:50 a.m. KKNW. I'm your host, Rev Walden. It's my joy to be on the air, and I want to thank Market Street Shoes and Virtues Healing for supporting us. And as I look out my window, it's a rainy day, and you know what I like about a rainy day? Sometimes it slows us down. That's what I like about a rainy day. Well, I want to bring my next guest on, and her first name is Syvia. And I'm not quite sure how she pronounces her last name, so I'm going to let her do that. Welcome, Syvia. Welcome to the Mother's Justice Show. So glad to have you on.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Reverend. My name is Syvia Feliciano.
Say it again.
Syvia Feliciano.
Oh, Feliciano. Okay. Yeah. Well, hey, you know what? We're not strangers. I mean, and I always tell people true transparency. I met you before. I think you came to my old office. We're no longer there on 14th there, and we had a great talk. I think I might have shared my book with you about the repetition journaling, how to create a new groove in your subconscious mind. It was not a hit. It did not make Oprah's best thing. It was sent to her, but it wasn't a hit. So anyway, well, so welcome to Mother's Justice Show, and I want you coming on is a great opportunity for us to catch up, and a lot of things has happened in your life and our lives, and one thing about life, we just never know where we're going to be at. I mean, it's sometimes it's free flowing, sometimes it's free falling, sometimes it's butt kicking. Oh, it's just all of that sometime, right? Oh yeah. So anyway, welcome, and I'll let you give us some information about your background, and just one thing though before I mean, Judith Vega is from Puerto Rico, and she had something on a page one time about Black people, and how and talking about Black people, and so I learned so much by just learning more about Puerto Ricans and their relationship to Africa. You know, it's all of our relationship is to Africa. So yeah. So anyway, I learned that from I had a lot of respect for that. I said, oh, okay. Like so. Hey, give us a little bit about you, Sylvia.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm so
Yeah.
honored to be here today. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, you're
I
welcome.
am the founder and owner of Solace Mind, and it is a stress management and holistic wellness practice. I am a former Marine Corps veteran. We have 2 sons who are Marine Corps veterans. I'm also a certified crisis intervention specialist and a mental health advocate. I'm currently a graduate student to pursue my mental health counseling license. So I'll be graduating next year.
Oh wow, you're just really, you know what? You just keep moving, and adding more value, not only for what you can do, but for what you can do for the world. So wow, I mean, and I think you just had something called a birthday not too long ago. Did you have a B-day?
I did.
Oh,
I did.
yeah.
I've not. Well, as you know, I hadn't been in the celebratory phase this past year.
Right.
The space I'm in. So my story is my work has been in crisis intervention. I volunteered for the crisis hotline. I was actually the strategic advisor and the project lead for Seattle's CARE program, their new behavioral health providers being dispatched by 911. And I've also partnered with University of Washington's School of Social Work to help provide crisis training to first responders. And I'm a part of their new BH Core program focusing on culturally responsive crisis care for first responders.
Wow, that's wonderful. Mothers is the reason why you have crisis intervention. Our organization brought it here in probably about 1997 or 98. We brought it from Portland.
I remember you telling me.
Yeah. So wonderful. You just really have a heart, that's like wanting to make sure people understand that they can be well.
Absolutely. It's all about access and awareness, especially for our communities who are disparately and disproportionately impacted by the lack of mental health care resources. And so this journey of mine is especially important to me beyond policy and training, right? Beyond the professional. My mission is deeply personal. I lost my son, Joshua, who was also a Marine Corps veteran. He was a college student at East Tennessee State University, ETSU, and he died by suicide last year. And
Yes.
So, he was also deeply committed to service and giving back to his community.
Right.
He volunteered when he was just 14, 15 years old. He volunteered for Rebuilding Together Seattle.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he served with Team Rubicon, and we were deployed when the complex fires happened in Eastern Washington.
Oh, yeah.
We were deployed there, and both of my younger children, Joshua and Rebecca, we went there. We started our journey at 3 o'clock in the morning to get there in time to help out, to help the community rebuild from those fires. He also became a Seattle Fire Department youth cadet and worked as an EMT here in Seattle for AMR. And then that's when he joined the Marine Corps.
Wow.
But yeah, he was absolutely dedicated to community as well.
Wow. How old was Josh?
Joshie was 26 years old when he died.
26, yeah, bless his heart, yeah. And one of the things that we talked about over the phone several times is about no mother is prepared for this, no matter how the child passes away and move on to the realm of ancestors. And nothing in our whole life can prepare us for this. It's I always say that it leaves us breathless. Death is an equalizer, and it leaves you breathless. and it takes a while to breathe again. It really does. I mean, and so our show today is about mothers. I passed the last time I saw you. Your life had not changed this way. My life had changed in 2005, but we just never know. And sometimes I've noticed in our community, people, it's like they have all these divisions, and so I reached out to you purposely because I felt that women are mothers like us. And I'm sure fathers grieve too. I mean, I don't know how they grieve, but, I'm sure that they possibly do. I mean, because, they do. I mean, sometimes they never get over it either, but it's something that you don't get over. It's something you learn to live with. And I noticed that it was like separation and, and it's like, wow. How can that be separation in our community? Because, our children didn't, die by the hands of the police or die by the hands of a community person. And when one of these times you come back on, or maybe you're hosting a show here, being one of my replacement hosts when I'm not here, but we can talk about how we never talk about how community violence helps us hurt us. Because our community, and I'm sure we're not the only community, it's the only community I live in, but there are people in the grocery store and at the bus stop who's harmed us. And they're in our community, they're in the churches, they're in these places, and they harm us. And they walk, I think we should not be satisfied with that. I think we should have a higher standard, and we should have most communities have a zero tolerance for some of this stuff that we have tolerated because we were socialized to tolerate it. See, so but you got a lot of study, and I know that you have some, you'll have some good times to talk about that, and that type of thing. But today, I wanted to bring you on to be my guest, just so we could have like a frank conversation about, about moving through these events that we didn't sign up for. We didn't know we signed up for. So I want to just give you some opportunity here, and we'll take a break in about maybe about 5 minutes, but we'll go on a little bit, maybe 5 or 6 more minutes here before we take a break, so you can get a couple of your songs played. So
yeah, I think it's really important to normalize having these conversations about mental health awareness, because a big part of violence is the lack of mental health care and resources. And people don't understand how trauma impacts the way they approach life. And when people are in constant crisis or experiencing chronic stress, there's a level of rationalization that is diminished, that is minimized in that space that they're in. And so it's incredibly important for me to be on this journey with so many other of our sisters and brothers that are bringing these resources to our communities so that people can care for their mental health. It's important.
Oh, I absolutely agree that it's important. But I came through it another time. When in 1963, when I graduated from high school, we didn't have violence in our community. And I think a lot of the violence is socially engineered.
Oh,
because it's all there. When we're working on the on every time we come out of the seasoning process, something happens, and that's another conversation. And then we find ourselves back there, and Hollywood makes sure that we stay that way. There was a book about that. It was a movie about 12 Years a Slave. They never would have made a movie about 12 Years Free. So I refuse to go see it. Because all those things keep you in that mentality. My grandson was in the classroom, and they wanted to know what flag did your ancestors come from. Luckily for him, he had been to Tanzania. He'd been to East Africa so many times, so he just put up the Tanzania flag. So, and all of that keeps our children in a state of going backwards. All that social engineering that didn't happen in segregation. See, nobody was trying to get you to go anywhere. They were trying to get you to learn, and so you could be a better person and be able to make it. So I think, too, that a lot of this is, and I'm so glad that people like you are doing this work. from another way, you know, and because I think what we gave up in integration was spirituality and culture.
And
I mean,
organization, because
well,
we
yeah, and
know
organizing. That's right. That's right.
organizing, because they
Organize
know
it because that's
organizing.
right. Organize it. And when we stop organizing, the other people took a page out of our book because this is the longest time in the history of African people stolen in America that we don't have our people with us and we don't have organizing. We've never lived by ourselves. We always, you know, Harriet says, I'm going to take my people with her, you know. And I think when you walk down the streets in Seattle, you see the sorrow and the loneliness and the breathness of people who don't have nothing. They're not connected anywhere. That wouldn't happen, and that don't happen in you know, don't happen in Puerto Rico. It doesn't happen to be, you know, somebody out in the range, somebody in Puerto Rico, you know, say, come on, bro, we got some good food. I mean, it's that African spirit that has got us through has now been diminished in 60 years. And if we had another 30 years, I don't think we could recoup it. But the way that things are going in the world and the people like you, we can get our children back in a different way, see. You know, and I you know, I'm so glad that you're doing this other work, see. You know, because trauma, I never heard of the word when I was growing up. It was not a word present. You just went on and did what you needed to do. You went, but also they went to church all the time and they shouted. Now I believe they were shouting out that stuff that kept them angry, so they could go back the next day in degradation and being called boy or girl. See, yeah. So,
You have strong networks of support. You still have strong networks of support, but they're really fragmented. You know,
well, yeah.
And so it's a hard day. It's a hard day.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I want to make sure we can play at least one of your songs. So let's take a break right now. Eric might have been able to find one of them at least. So we'll take a break right now. You listen to the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 AM KKNW. I'm your host, Reverend Walden. It's my joy to be on there. We'll be right back.
The Mother's Justice Show is brought to you by H.G. Walden and the Virtues Healing Circles. Join us for Wisdom and Wellness with Reverend Walden, a monthly virtual and in-person healing circle that focuses on community healing and growth. Learn more at virtueshealing.com. That's virtueshealing.com. Also, be sure to join our healing group on Facebook. Again, visit us at virtueshealing.com today.
Oh, you're listening to the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 AM KKNW. I'm your host, Reverend Walden. It's my joy to be on the air. I want to bring on my guest back, Syvia. We're having a great conversation. Not a great conversation, but a conversation about what happens when you lose one of your children. And so, welcome back, Syvia. And also, I want to thank Eric for such short notice of finding a great song that means a lot to Syvia. All right. Syvia, you want to come back in?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, thank you for playing the song. When I first heard the song, I'd never heard the song before. When I first heard it, it became my theme song last year because everything I did was about seeking justice for Joshua. As a Marine, he experienced some things that I never knew because he wanted to shield me from that. And he knew that I was a mama bear and I was on his behalf. And so when he died and we found out that he had sought help because he was in crisis, he was on a medication that actually initiates and intensifies suicidal thoughts and action. A week before he died, they had increased the medication. And he was complaining about those side effects. Josh didn't want to die.
Right.
He wanted to very much live, and he was thriving. He was doing things that he'd never done before. So he was growing into the man that he wanted to grow into on his own terms.
Right.
And so when we found out that the VA admitted that there were missed opportunities, I had spoken to the VA chaplain himself, and they did what they call an after review. And they found that there were missed opportunities between the medication management and the lack of warm handoffs, because he called the VA and they transferred him to the Veterans Crisis Line that Thursday before his death, because he was in crisis and there was no follow-up. We have crisis response teams here. We have mobile crisis units here. They also have crisis response teams in Tennessee, in the city that he was in. And there was no follow-up. And
Wow.
so the next day he took his life.
Wow.
So I'm absolutely seeking justice. So that song means everything to me. I'm not going to give up on
Right.
speaking.
Right. Yeah. I just want to acknowledge you and acknowledge at this moment that it's hard here right now. And for you to be able to catch your breath and to speak about it. And also just hearing that about the medication, because it's been known for quite a while that this medications that they use, actually increases people's anxiety in a different way about life. And I know, I mean, I'm just knowing in a different way if it could ever be revealed. So many of the soldiers who have taken their lives, I'll say active, retired, are people who have been into the service and actually taken their lives, is that you will find that they were on some kind of medication down, the pharmaceuticals and all these people. And for them, to get the correct help that they need, sometimes it's just not there. You and other people who've been in the service absolutely go to the service because you want to make America a better place, and and all those kinds of things that people are going for. So I just want to acknowledge you right now and acknowledge that this is hard. It is hard. I mean, moving through an event that has happened just a year ago, and I always say that grief for me, and how I describe it, it's like when you go get a chest x-ray and they put that shield on you, and that heaviness is there for such a long time. It's not going like driving McDonald's. It doesn't happen that way. So I just wanted to give you some time to, to be able to collect yourself and so you can speak. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and grief. I hear so many speak on the stages of grief. It's not linear.
It's not. It's not. No, it's not. It's not the way that some other people think it is. Okay, yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm.
But I also want to make mention about the medication. I absolutely believe there's a space for it, but I also believe that there are just some people that shouldn't be taking certain medications. And something that they don't bring awareness to is that there are actual testing out there, genetic testing, that have biomarkers that can tell you which medications you should not be on. That should be a requirement, so that people are not experiencing being tested, for different medications. They should pretty much know. And so learning just this year that there's a genetic testing with biomarkers that your doctor can tell you which medications wouldn't or would work for you, or have a higher probability of working for you. That would minimize a lot of harm, a lot of adverse reactions to medication you shouldn't be taking.
Well, but also I think that not think. I mean, I'm not thinking deeply. I'm just thinking that sometimes there's the other the meditations and the songs and the poems and going toward the creative part of that, to be able to access part of the brain that was not accessed when you happen to be a different way, like being on post, those kinds of things. And so, and it's not weak to be an artist, or have a place where you can sing, or or look at the sky. I mean, it's all of these things that Creator put here for us to actually, to be well. And sometimes people don't understand how to bring that into the wellness part for people who actually have had something that is almost disconnected them from the life that they had before, and how to bring them back to center. See, yeah.
Right. And there is a movement now to have those modalities incorporated into therapy sessions, which is why it's incredibly important for me to bring the awareness and the access, along with so many other therapists in the BIPOC community that are doing the same thing. There's a heightened awareness. We know that the community needs these mindfulness, emotional intelligence, self-regulation, because in moments of crisis, people don't realize when it's coming on, because they have not practiced the ability to self-regulate, right? That level of awareness for that hasn't been provided to them. And so I think it's incredibly important that we continue having these conversations and normalizing, talking about mental health and, you know, what people are experiencing and how to recognize it. Make it okay to ask someone if they see them feeling depressed, or even if they experience a change in behavior, to not feel scared, to ask
Right.
people, are you in danger of harming yourself? Do you feel like killing yourself? It is incredibly important for people to understand that's not going to push the person to do it. It's actually going to create a safe space to say, yes, and I need help.
Right.
I think a lot of people fear that them bringing up suicide is going to cause the suicide.
Yeah.
It's going to cause that communication for the person to be able to open up and talk about that. And so I want to engage the community to give them strategies on how to engage someone, a loved one, a son, a daughter, a mother, a father, you know, a friend, a peer, a coworker. If they experience someone who they observe may be depressed, down, to engage them, and anybody can, you know, do, if you have an open communication with someone, if someone trusts you, there are things that you can do to help them navigate those crises, to self-regulate and buy them time. And so,
And also we live in a society after COVID, even more so, that people don't hug one another. I mean, hugging is so important. I mean, Dr. Mandel talks about hugging and what it does to the body. I mean, and then, you know, all the things that's just left. I mean, this, you know, how people feel. And so just touching one another. I mean, you know, it's so many other, you know, I mean, and, you know, one of the things that happened before, when the colonizers came, is that what is it? Spirit and matter was no longer together. And so you have all this stuff that's going on, but the earth and the mother, I mean, it's all these other ways out there. And so I'm glad that you're looking at a lot of modalities, because sometimes I think we have to bring the culture of where we come from. And that's been negated in all of these things, the culture and who we are, you know. And now that they're doing genetic testing, you know, that there's something else is there. You know, we have a lot more. I mean, I've never been inferior. We are really we're dominant gene. I mean, and that's not going to change. But I'm just so happy that you you know, was already doing so much work, and now, you know, you're having a place to be able to say what it was like. I mean, and also knowing how to offer help to other families and people who, I mean, the world, the way it's going now is just chaos. Chaos is the British model. That's how they rule the world, and shock and awe, and you know, and people. I mean, it's so much anxiety right now, and it keeps you on high alert. And then racism is real. I mean, you know, the Africans stolen. We haven't had any safety since we got stolen. I mean, the first time in my life I ever felt safe, I was way up in the Kootenai Mountain in Nelson, British Columbia. That's my favorite place. I mean, then I said, oh, I know what it feels like. I mean, you know, we don't know what safety is. Yeah.
Racial trauma is real. And I wanted to give just a few strategies. If you are listening and there are times where you feel like you're in crisis or helpless or hopeless, there are things that you can do right now, that you can carry a little notebook or if you take a paper and pen, or if you know someone, a loved one or a friend or a peer who trusts you to have this conversation, it's important to create a crisis safety plan, because when we go into crisis, a part of our brain
That's right.
shuts down, because we need to reserve energy to be in that fight or flight. And so parts of our body will shut down to provide energy in other places. So for instance, you don't need rationalization or logical thinking. So that part is going to shut down because you don't need to be rational when you're fighting. Your digestive system shuts down. So there's an easy way to observe your own body, to bring awareness to your own body. If you feel like you've lost your appetite when either you're having an argument with someone, you come across bad news, and all of a sudden you don't feel like eating anymore. You were just hungry, but now you don't feel like eating. Your body has just shifted into that fight or flight mode, and your digestive system shut down. If you experience that, you know that you have to take a moment, and it only takes about 3 or 4 minutes to be able to shift back into that parasympathetic, that rest state, by breathing, taking deep breaths, bringing your awareness to your breath for 3 to 4 minutes, and you can come back to that state, that space where your, logical and rational brain kick in again. But creating a safety plan for yourself or helping someone create it for themselves is critical in a moment of crisis, and it's very simple to do. It's listing your triggers, understanding what is it that makes you feel hopeless. How do you know you're feeling hopeless? What are the thoughts? What are the feelings? And then identifying alternative behaviors. What has worked for you? Writing down what has worked for you that has brought you back to a peaceful state. And then also your support. So your triggers, alternative behaviors, and who you can call, whether it is mom or dad or a guardian, whether it's a best friend, or even 988. Just listing your triggers, alternative behaviors, and help can save a life. And so I just wanted to be able to provide that quickly before we leave here, and while I leave, and also understand that there are resources out there for the community. You have the Therapy Fund Foundation, you have Consejo Counseling and Referral Services, you have Talkspace for the youth. There are a lot of services out there. You can go to the King County's website, the Seattle.gov's website, and find a lot of resources for mental health, but it's out there. And I encourage people to reach out so that if they need it, they already have it and they won't have to look for it. Because that's what happened when Josh first died. When I first learned that Josh died, I probably stayed in shock for about 6 months. But I knew immediately to dive into a network of support before I came out of that shock and fell into deep despair, the reality that I lost my son. Because and so luckily I already had my crisis safety plan in place and my network of support, and I went to grief support groups, and I had you to talk to. I had so many people in the community to talk to about it. So thank you for providing this platform for the community.
Well, and I thank you for being here today, and we will absolutely get a chance to continue this conversation and other conversations, because it's about health right now. I mean, it's about health and how we can help each other, and we don't know how the future is going to evolve, but we know who holds the future, and we know who makes the sun come up. So, yeah. So, is there one more word or just 2 words that you want to leave about Josh? As a mother, 2 words is, it's like, okay, well, so his favorite food, it's just something, because we don't have but just less than a minute now, just about a minute. So what 2 words would you say about Josh?
I would say that Josh believed in his moments, in his crisis, he didn't believe that he was helping others. And he's helping so many people already.
Right. Mm-hmm.
All can make a difference.
Right. Well, you know, we will probably play your song, the last song, if he has it when we get ready to leave. I just want to acknowledge you for coming on and having a hard conversation about two mothers, who've lost their children. And like my Hiram has been gone 20 years, and yours is so recent. And but we still together in that club that we didn't sign up for. So thank you, and we'll be in touch. Blessings. I'll call you after the show also. I would. Thank you. You've been listening to the Mother's Justice Show on 11:50 a.m. KKNW. I'm your host, Reverend Walden, and it's a podcast later on. Make sure you check it out. Okay, thank you so much. And we'll see you next time. Thank you, Eric. All right.